In a world that is just obsessed with finding your purpose, what if the answer wasn't something you had to go out and find? What if it was inside you this whole time? Well, today we're going to dive into an incredible ancient guide to that very question, the Bhagavad Gita. So let's just kick things off with a pretty big question. What actually separates us as humans from animals? An ancient text called the Hitopadesha points out that, hey, eating, sleeping, feeling fear, and mating, well, we all do that, humans and animals. We share all these basic survival instincts. So is that really all there is? But the texts say there is something more. The one key difference, the thing that truly sets us apart, is this idea of dharma. Now, this isn't just about religion. It's about our built-in sense of responsibility, our ability to connect with a higher purpose that goes way beyond just surviving. And without that, the scripture says we're really no different from any other creature. And that capacity for purpose, well, that brings us right to the heart of our modern-day problem. See, we get so lost chasing goals that, as we're about to see, just don't lead to any kind of real, lasting fulfillment. First step, fame. Oh, it looks so shiny, right? But think about it. It completely depends on what other people think of you. And people's opinions, they change like the wind. Trying to live your life for someone else's approval is a surefire recipe for anxiety, and honestly, it often leads to depression. It's just a totally unstable foundation to build a life on. Then there's the chase for pleasure, what we call sense gratification. Seeing, hearing, tasting, all the good stuff. These things bring us joy, for sure, but it is always, always temporary. Just think about your favorite food. The first bite is heaven, right? The 10th bite is pretty good, but by the 100th, you'd probably want to throw it out the window. Sensory pleasures always have diminishing returns. They can never truly, deeply satisfy us. And of course, the big one, wealth. We can spend our entire lives just accumulating stuff, often living with this constant nagging anxiety that we might lose it all. But it doesn't matter how much we get, because in the end, we can't take a single thing with us. It's no guarantee for happiness, and it is definitely not an ultimate purpose. This quote from Jim Carrey just hits the nail on the head. Imagine getting everything you ever dreamed of, only to realize there's still this emptiness inside. It's such a powerful realization, and it tells us that the real answer, it's gotta be somewhere else entirely. So why? Why do all these things we chase fail us so completely? Well, the Bhagavad Gita gives us the answer by dropping a foundational truth about who we really are, and this is where things get really, really interesting. The Gita makes this absolutely crucial distinction. It says, you are not your physical body. The body is temporary. It's always changing, and eventually, as one verse says, it's discarded, just like a pair of old, worn-out clothes. But the soul, the real you inside, that is eternal. It's unchanging. Another verse says the soul can't be cut by weapons, burned by fire, or dried by the wind. It is literally indestructible. And building on that, the Gita teaches us that this eternal soul is not some isolated thing. Our modern culture is all about the individual. My goals, my happiness. But the Gita says no, we are all deeply interconnected, like single threads woven into a vast cosmic tapestry. Nothing and no one exists in a vacuum. Okay, so if we aren't just our bodies, and if we're all connected, then how in the world are we supposed to live a life of purpose? This brings us to the Gita's really practical, actionable solution, the path of selfless action. The core idea here is a concept called yagya. Now, this doesn't mean you have to go build a fire and do some complex ritual. At its heart, yagya just means a selfless offering. It's the principle of contribution. It completely reframes our life from asking, what can I get, to what can I give? And when we do this, it creates this beautiful, reciprocal cycle. It's like a law of nature. You perform your selfless duty, and in doing so, you nourish the greater whole. Then, in return, that greater whole nourishes you right back. The Gita even warns that people who don't take part in this cycle, they live in vain. Real prosperity, both material and spiritual, flows from what we contribute, not from what we take. And the way we actually practice this principle is called Karma Yoga, or the yoga of action. It's this amazing path of finding deep spiritual alignment, not by running away from the world, but by engaging with it fully through performing our unique, selfless duty. Now, I know this idea of selfless duty can feel a bit abstract, But the Gita uses a simple, incredibly powerful metaphor to make it all crystal clear. We can understand our role in this giant universe just by thinking about the simple relationship between a hand and the body it's attached to. I mean, just think about it. What is the hand's natural duty? It's to serve the entire body, right? It picks up food and brings it to the mouth. It doesn't try to absorb the nutrients for itself. And in return for that service, what happens? The body sends nutrients and energy right back to the hand through the bloodstream. The hand thrives and prospers precisely because it does its job for the whole. But imagine if the hand got selfish. What if it decided, you know what? I'm tired of serving the body. I want to enjoy this food all for myself. If it were separated from the body, could it survive? Of course not. It would just wither away and perish. It's such a brilliant illustration of how our own prosperity is directly, and I mean directly, tied to serving the greater whole that we are all a part of. So the crucial point here is this. Living a life of purpose is less about what you do and much, much more about the consciousness, the mindset with which you do it. It's all about a fundamental shift in how you see the world. We really have a choice. We can operate from what you might call a material consciousness, which is all self-serving. It lives only for those temporary flashes of sensory pleasure. Or we can shift into a divine consciousness. This one is self-aligning. It understands that we're all connected and finds real, true, lasting joy by serving the whole and connecting to that divine source. And this is so, so important. Your purpose isn't about being somebody else. This verse from the Gita drives it home. It is so much better to do your own duty, even if you make mistakes, than to perfectly copy someone else's. Your contribution, what you bring to the table, is totally unique. And that, really, is the ultimate takeaway from this incredible piece of ancient wisdom. Purpose isn't some lost object you go out and find. It's something you live moment by moment through your own selfless action and contribution. So the final question I want to leave you with is this. What is the world asking of you?